Welcome to City Week, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Alton West. Today I have guests on from the Troup County Sheriff's Office, so stay tuned for those interviews coming up in just a moment. Welcome to City Week, ladies and gentlemen. Today my guests are from the Troup County Sheriff's Department. I have the Sheriff James Woodruff, and also the Public Information Officer, Officer Stuart Smith. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Alton, for having us. Thank you.
Well, you know, it's a pleasure to sit down with you again, Sheriff. I think last time we were together, we were out by the lake on a beautiful day.
Oh, and, beautiful day.
Absolutely gorgeous. We had that nice boat in the background there.
Sir.
Got a chance to take a ride, so thank you very much for that as well.
Absolutely.
Well, Sheriff, let me ask you, you've been there in office now for about 8 months now.
Mm-hmm.
Give us a little overview of what things have been like thus far.
Time has flown by. It has really flown by. We're so thankful for the confidence that the people continue to have in us. We work every day to try to make Troup County a better place to live and to work and raise our kids. Some of the things that we've done, we've started cross-training with LaGrange Police Department. We've cross-trained some with the Georgia Bureau of Investigations. One thing that I said when I was running is we're going to break down some of these barriers and work closely with our city officers, because crime, and it's not just a slogan or not just a catchphrase, crime does not stop at the city limits.
Absolutely.
And I think we need to know what LPD is doing. LPD, West Point PD, Hogansville PD needs to know what we're doing. So I want to work close with these chiefs, and I've reached out to them, they've reached out to me, and we're going to form a big bond that we can fight crime together. And we've already worked on some cases together. Just had a big drug bust down in West Point where we worked with Chief Cato down there on that. And so we're real pleased with what we've been able to do. We've got a new computer system up and going, PTS again, so that we can see what LaGrange is working on. They can see what we're working on. The court system can see what we're working on, and when we submit stuff to the court system, tie us all together and not just have everybody's got their own separate little system, but tie us all together because we're all working as one big team anyway.
Absolutely.
So that's what PTS is going to do. One thing we talked about, we've gone to Clear Talk with our radio traffic, with our deputies, and for the people that don't know, Clear Talk is where we actually just say what we're doing instead of using 10 codes.
That's right.
And after 20-something years of me being there, using 10 codes, it's very hard to talk plain.
It's an adjustment there, isn't
when you
it?
want to use 10 codes. So that's just a few of the things that we've done. Got new video visitation up and going. I think we're going to talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're real pleased with that and what it's going to do for our citizens. So we're making some headway. We've got a ways to go.
Absolutely. Well,
but we're very thankful for all the support we've been given so far.
Well, thank you too, Sheriff. We definitely appreciate your leadership in the county and also in the department there. We definitely can see the effects of things that are taking place in the community. And I want to come back and talk about some of the things as the collaborations that you all are doing. Sure. But I'm going to jump over to Stu and ask a question as a public information officer. I was saying, I said, you're the gentleman that knows everything that's going on, right?
Exactly.
Right. Tell us a little bit about what your role is, Stu.
Well, I actually have a lot of roles I carry. First and foremost, I'm the media relations guy between us and the print media, the TV media, radio media. I handle the daily press releases. I send out mug shots on a daily basis to these guys. I also handle our Facebook page, our website, also the Nixle page that we have. And the Facebook page has honestly been there's been very positive feedback from the community. I think we're close to 2,500 likes on our Facebook page since January.
Let me ask a question in there. How do you use the Facebook page in helping you solve crimes or whatever the case may be?
A lot of times we'll put crime prevention tips on there.
Okay.
Scam alerts, texting and driving. We put alerts out about that, stuff you shouldn't do. And also we'll put alerts on there if we've had an armed robber, like we did a couple weeks ago at the Hog Heaven on West Point Road. We actually put the surveillance video on there. And we'll put wanted persons mug shots on there and just briefly describe what they did and what we're looking for them. And we'll put phone numbers on there to contact our investigators or Crime Stoppers. And we'll put, if we're out in the community doing something, at a Chick-fil-A, a community night or something, or at the mall or wherever, and we'll take pictures and put those on there just to show you know, yeah, we're looking for bad guys, but we're also out in the community doing positive stuff with them, you know, to try to prevent some of these things from happening.
Absolutely. You know, as we were talking before we came on, a lot of times if someone hadn't had an occasion to visit your department,
Right.
they just feel like the sheriff department, the police department, all the agencies write tickets, take people to jail, and that's about it.
Right.
But your department is so much bigger than just that. Before we came on, you were talking about you got the jail, you got patrol, you got admin, you got CID, you got transport, you got juvenile. Talk about how all of those components come together to work to become that unit that functions as a whole in our community.
Well, and it's like we were talking, I am surrounded, Alton, by some of the best people in Troup County that I could work with. And it's a huge team, and it's broken down into smaller parts. We've got our jail division responsible for looking after our inmates daily. Patrol division that get out here and answer the calls. Criminal investigation division that take over the investigations when somebody's had a burglary. Drug division or narcotics division. Juvenile division that handle just juvenile crimes in our county. Transport division does nothing but transports inmates back and forth to court, back and forth to prisons. Our civil service division that serve our civil papers, and our warrant division. Our admin division. I mean, these people work tirelessly answering the phones and trying to help people with information that they need, getting reports out to them. And so each one of those divisions make up the total package. And we would not be complete without one. So you can't say that one is more important than the other. Each has its own particular part that they play, and they play a very important role. And a lot of times our citizens, like we said, I don't think realize there's all those divisions. You know, they just say, the sheriff's office, what do? Well, they patrol the roads, they put people in jail, and they write tickets, and that's all they do.
That's right.
But it's a whole lot more than that. And I invite the people to come down. We've invited Boy Scout troops, Girl Scout troops, neighborhood watch groups to come down and take a tour of the jail. Absolutely. It's their jail. Their tax dollars pay for it. I want them to come down and see it, and feel free to go through there and tour it, and they can do the same thing up at the government center.
Absolutely.
Tour my office up there. I want to be open and transparent, and I want to be able to accept feedback from our citizens and change when necessary.
Absolutely. You're talking about coming down to the jail to visit and everything. I know that we saw in the newspaper just as recent as a couple of days ago, the new visitation building.
Yes.
And I know this is a way that family members can come and visit with inmates. Talk a little bit about that, both of you gentlemen, if you don't mind.
Well, I'll start off and just tell you what I know to be very important about it, I think, to our citizens. One thing right now is where you check in to visit and where you have to walk to actually have the visit with your loved one is a long way due to the design of the jail. And I've had elderly senior citizens tell me, I can't walk that far. You know, I'm on a walker, I've got a bad hip, I've got a bad leg, I've got COPD, and I just can't make that walk down there. So we have to make arrangements for special visits, which delays them in their visitation time. You know, you've got to sit there until we can make these special accommodations for you. Another thing is our senior citizens get down there and it's so loud. And they say, I have trouble hearing anyway, so when you're shouting over here and Stuart's shouting over there and I'm trying to shout to talk to you or whatever, I can't hear what you're saying, so they get frustrated and they don't come back. This new visitation center, you park and within about 10 or 15 feet, you're in the door, you check in, you sit down, you're at a computer monitor with a telephone, and you can see them as clear as we're sitting here today. You can hear as clear as we're talking here today. And I think that makes a big difference, not to mention keeping contraband out of the jail. That's one of the main things, too, in going to this new system is limiting the number of people that come in. Not everybody brings contraband, but for those that choose to do so, this is another avenue to try to curtail that and prevent that from getting in.
Well, very good. I'm looking forward to coming down and at least looking at that system itself.
Absolutely.
You know, and talking about that visitation, you all are out in the communities doing various things. I know that you have the junior deputy. Talk a little bit about that, and also want to kind of talk about the SAY, which is the Sheriff Academy for Youth. Talk
Yes.
about those two programs.
Yeah, SAY, and I'll just start there. We had our SAY camp back in the second, third weeks in July. And it was, the first week was 8 and 9-year-old boys and girls. I had 29 of them. And the second week was 10, 11, 12, I'm sorry, 10, 11-year-old, 29 boys and girls then. And it's a summer camp that the Parks and Rec and us sponsor. It's one of their summer programs. And they come in Monday morning at about 9 o'clock, and we get them registered. We sign all their paperwork, and we have them Monday, and they go home about 4 o'clock every afternoon, and they come back Tuesday morning, the same schedule. And Friday's a half a day, and each day they'll get, we actually teach them the functions of the patrol division one day, our criminal investigative division, narcotics, our dive team, K-9 division, the administrative division. They met with the sheriff and chief deputies and all those guys, and that's the first part of the day. And then we do lunch, and in the afternoon we'll go out to either to Red Skating Rink one day or the Water Whiz, and then we went to a movie one day. We took them to our firing range and showed them. They didn't actually shoot the weapons, but we taught them gun safety.
Okay.
Because a lot of these kids, they probably have guns in their house, and their parents may not have taught them about guns. And the important thing we taught them was, if you find a gun, leave it alone. You know, tell somebody. And then we actually, I and some of our officers actually shot some of the guns. Not, you know, just for play, but for the kids to actually see, hey, you know, what they can do.
Absolutely.
And like I said, I think it was 58 kids we had total those 2 weeks, and spent some good time with them, and they learned a lot about us and us about them.
And it's always good to educate our young people about law enforcement, so they have a
Absolutely.
greater respect for the roles that the sheriff play, you know, public information
Right.
officers, and everyone involved, so that when they see, because I know a lot of times when I was growing up as a young boy, you know, your parents said, you be bad, I'm gonna get that police officer to take you to
Yeah.
jail,
Right.
and you had that fear
Exactly.
of officers, and we don't
Yeah.
want kids coming
Yeah.
up with that fear.
And one thing that we're doing, Alton, is our officers, if they see somebody in the grocery store and they'll say, you better behave, they're going to take you to jail, we say, no, we won't take him to jail, because we don't want the kids afraid to talk to us. Because if they have something going on, or if they get separated from their mom or dad in the mall and they see an officer, I don't want that child to be so afraid of that officer that he won't go up
Right.
there and ask for help. And that's why the junior deputy program that Stuart's going to talk about in the 3rd grade, and the Sheriff's Academy for Youth is so important. You know, it's so important to build those bonds with these young people. They're our future, and I want to be able to build those bonds and make them strong in the community for our young people and us alike.
Absolutely. I tell you what, gentlemen, let's take a short break. We'll come back because we want to talk about the junior deputy program, and there's some other things that we want to talk about here in just a moment, okay?
Absolutely.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We're back for more City Week in just a moment. Welcome back, City Week, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm sitting down with the Sheriff, Jane Woodruff, and also the Public Information Officer, Stuart Smith. And we're talking here, we left off just a moment ago talking about some of the community programs. And Stuart, you want to talk to us about the Junior Deputy Program.
Right out, and something we're excited about is something we wanted to bring back to our 3rd graders. And back in, I believe it was June or July, we got the approval from the school board to be able to go into each of these elementary schools, there's 12 of them, and teach the Junior Deputy Program to the 3rd graders. It's only going to be a 4-week program. It's one day that I'll go in, and we talk about school safety 1 week, home safety 1 week, bicycle safety 1 week, and then say no to drugs. And it's those 4 weeks that I'll spend probably 30 or 45 minutes with the kids. And our hope is to get into all the elementary schools. There's 12 of them now. And our hope is 6 schools the first semester, 6 the next. And the next step I have to do is go to the principals, talk to them again about the program, and a lot of them have already gotten positive feedback on the program for them, and they're excited to have us back in the schools. And the main thing is not necessarily just teaching these programs, it's, you know, getting a relationship with these kids. And yes, I'll be with the 3rd graders, but, you know, I'll be exposed to all the kids from pre-K up to 5th grade. And I'll get time to walk the schools and, you know, have lunch with the kids, and like I said, just to, you know, make an impact with the kids. And if I have 1,000 students, I may not, you know, affect 1,000, but if I can affect 1 kid, you know, while I'm there and make a difference with 1 kid.
You know, just that presence in the school system. I'm kind of reminiscing back here from my days of there.
Yeah.
You know, and just to have that officer in that car sitting out front of the school just kind of sends a message as well.
And you know, you mentioned something from your days of DARE, when you were there.
That's right.
I promise you there are kids today, probably adults now, that come up to you from time to time and say, I remember when
Absolutely.
you taught me DARE. You know, one of our DARE officers was George Cotton.
That's right. I remember
And
well.
George is now a Georgia State Trooper. And there's so many people, even now when I go to the schools to visit, I was in Hogansville yesterday, there are so many people, teachers and parents and stuff, that say, I remember Mr. Cotton
That's
and,
right.
and when he used to teach there and stuff. That's a lasting impression
Yes, it is.
on these kids. And if we can put some positive things together with them, it pays off down the road. Alton, we've got 400 people in jail this morning. And we've got a problem in this country.
Yes.
With drugs and stuff. And so we need to reach out. We've got to reach out to our young people and show them. And one of those programs that Stuart teaches, Say No to Drugs. And when I used to teach that program, I taught it for 4 years. One thing that I would say to these kids, you can be anything you want to be. If you finish school,
That's right.
stay out of trouble, say no to drugs.
That's right.
And
Absolutely.
that's the message we try to send to them.
Well, you know, I wish you all the very best in doing that program because, like I said, again, as you said so eloquently, Sheriff, we got to reach out to them now,
Yes.
or we'll see them later on
Right.
in your
Right.
facility or other facilities. On a positive note, now I know that you all are doing some things there by way of promotions, and then we also want to talk a little bit about some Purple Hearts that we're giving
Yes,
out.
absolutely.
Talk about some promotions of individuals there.
Well, recently, when I took office, Charles Nixon, I promoted him to the Major of Operations. He oversees all of our daily operations.
Okay.
Mike Caldwell, which used to work at the police department with y'all and came on with the sheriff's office, excuse me, is our chief investigator now. So he's doing a tremendous job there. Marty Reeves, of course, runs our jail. And what a job that is every day to have to run that jail. You know, Stuart brought him on as one of my public information officer. And let me just digress for a minute and say this, that we used to have an Explore program at the sheriff's office. I want to bring that back for young people,
I
14 to
remember that.
21.
Yeah.
Stuart Smith was one of my top explorers. Lee Wynn, that's a
remember.
LaGrange police
That's
officer
right.
now, was an explorer.
Hilton
Jeff
Swanson.
Walker, Hilton Swanson, that's a LaGrange detective now.
Yeah.
Such a positive program that made a change in these guys' lives, and now they have a career in law enforcement because of
And
it.
there's
Very
several in
good.
the military that have made military careers out of it.
Absolutely.
Very
And
good.
so it's just that positive. So we want to bring that back. But yeah, I've got some good people in good positions. We've got a good team put together. And as we were talking before we went on the air, I don't ever want to say these people work for me. They work with me.
That's right.
I truly believe we're a team that's put together to do one job, and that's serve the citizens of Troup County. And I've got some great people in good places.
Absolutely. And you know, I don't know a lot of the deputies, like I don't know a lot of the police officers now, but I know that if I had a problem, I feel confident that I could go to them and ask, you know, it would be served, you know,
Absolutely.
to the very best professional. Let me just, because I know that there's, I want to get to the Purple Hearts in a moment, but I know that there's an event that's coming up that's for a very worthwhile cause called Ride for Just. Well, I want to get that in too, and then I'll come back to the Purple Heart. Talk a little bit about that and what it means for you all to be involved.
Well, I'll let Stuart give us the details on it in just a
Okay,
minute. But
all right.
one of our investigators, Jason Newsom, his wife, Jessica, 30-year-old mother of two, is fighting cancer and stage 4 renal cell cancer. And we're having a motorcycle / Jeep ride. And let me say to the people of Troup County, probably every weekend, Alton, there's a motorcycle ride or a barbecue benefit for people. This county is so giving when it comes to trying to raise money, trying to reach out and help those in need, that it's unbelievable. I mean, there's every weekend, you know, of a benefit somewhere trying to help somebody. So we're just asking for people to give us a call. Stuart's going to give you the details about it, where it's going to be, how much it costs, what day it is. But we're asking people to come out and ride the motorcycle in it or ride their Jeep in it and help us raise money for this young lady. She's fought a tremendous battle, still fighting. We're still praying for a miracle. We believe in a miracle. But we want to help this family. We want to do what we can to make this a successful ride that day. But I'm going to let Stuart talk a
Very
little
good.
bit about
It's called a Ride for Jess, and the sheriff said it's her name is Jessica Newsom. It's Saturday, August 24th, and it's a $20 registration fee. They can register the day of at 9 o'clock at Baptist Tabernacle Church, and the ride will begin at 10 o'clock. And once the ride's over, we'll have a hot dog and hamburger lunch with donations accepted. And our plan is to have some door prizes and a 50-50 raffle. And the goal is this is just to raise money for Jessica and her family. And as the sheriff said, her husband Jason's one of our investigators. They have two daughters, and anything we can do for the family to help them out.
Well, very good. We're definitely looking for the community once again to come out and to support that. That'll be August the 24th, Ride for Jeff. And again, we know that the community will come out. Now, I want to go to the Purple Heart because I know that there was a deputy that was involved in a near fatal accident some years ago that is still recovering. Talk about that for us, Sheriff.
Recently, we had an Employee Appreciation Day. I just wanted to put something together to just cook for our employees and tell them how much we appreciate the job that they do. We also had 2 surprises lined up that these people didn't know anything about, and I invited Rick Massey just to come and hang out with us and enjoy a hot dog or hamburger. I secretly invited his wife and children and mother and aunt to come. And we awarded Rick Massey with a Purple Heart from the National Sheriff's Association. Rick, several years ago, was seriously injured in an automobile accident that was career-ending for him. And even though he can enjoy things with his family now, he and his son Chuck fish in tournaments, and he's able to do some stuff with his family, he'll never work in law enforcement again. And that was the love of his life. Rick and myself and several others started out together a few years ago, back in 1985, uptown in the old jail, if you remember where that was at.
I do.
And started our careers together and was looking forward to long careers. And Rick's was cut short, and he almost lost his life in that tremendous wreck. And so we were so thrilled to be able to surprise him and honor him that day with what I think he deserves. And we were able to honor Frank Kirby, a retired deputy that gave so many years of service to Troup County. We were able to honor him with a plaque that day for his service. And so it was a great day, and it was showing appreciation where appreciation needed to be shown.
Absolutely. Again, I know Rick and my brother graduated from high school, as a matter of fact.
Right.
And his mother was one of my elementary teachers.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes,
So
Miss Jean Massey.
I do know the family very well and very deserving. We just continue to wish the very best for Rick as he continues to recover from that near tragic accident.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Now, I want to go back and just kind of talk a little bit about the straight talk as we get ready to close out here, because I myself was raised up on the 10 codes, and you're talking about the collaboration between the LaGrange Police Department, the West Point. Talk a little bit about more how, and I know that you guys are going to be getting in-car computers. Talk a little bit about that for us, if you don't mind.
Well, we're going to be getting in-car computers so that we can receive dispatch there. Now, Stuart came from 911, so he is the expert when it talks about how you dispatch with CAD and all that. Remember, I'm the old 10 codes.
Me too.
Tell me over the radio what
That's
you want
right.
me to do. I had told you before we went on the air, I believe that the only drawback to this dispatching in the in-car computers is people love to listen to us on scanners,
That's right.
and that's going to cut down even more on that radio traffic. And there's been a lot of help we've received. If we're out looking for a house and they're listening on the scanner, they'll say, look, go down 2 more driveways, and that's what you're looking for. But let me let Stuart talk for a minute about how that's actually going to work.
Okay, very good.
The police department currently has the laptops in their cars, and 911 went live with PTS. And what it does, when they take a call and they're typing their information in the CAD, it goes to the officer's computer. The house description, the name, the complainant, the phone number, and a brief description of the call. That's already in his computer, and we've ordered the computers. They'll be in very soon, we hope, and installed. And like I said, what that will do on our side as well, it will have the deputy's case number. His information for his report is a lot of it's already there, the complainant name, phone number, and all that. And it will cut down on radio traffic. Once 911 gives the call out, it's on his computer. And he's not having to ask for the location again. He's not having to ask what the complainant's name, it's already there. And they can also look and see what the other deputies are doing as well. And the hopes are to have a map available too, and he can see where his closest partner is at some point. And so it's going to be a very good asset for our officers and deputies to be able to have that in their computer. I mean, in their car, and they can start their report, once they complete that call. Instead of having to come down to the office and type their report, it'll speed up their process as well.
Absolutely. I can remember days of old having to sit there and try to write a report in the car.
Right.
Yes,
Turning on the
sir.
lights up top and
Yes,
everything.
sir. Yes,
Well, you know,
sir.
gentlemen, it's a pleasure to sit down with both of you all. We could just sit and talk all day long, but unfortunately our time is gone. But I do want to get an opportunity to come down and visit
Please
the
do.
visitation
Absolutely.
building. And again, to when we get, maybe even do a ride along with the
Absolutely.
county offices as well.
Absolutely. Looking
So
forward to it.
Thank both of you gentlemen for being on the show
Thank you.
today.
Thank you,
All
Alton.
right. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We're back for more City Week in just a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining for City Week this week. My guests have been Sheriff James Woodruff, along with his Public Information Officer, Officer Stuart Smith. I hope that you enjoyed the interviews that they gave about the Troup County Sheriff Officer, and by all means, go out and visit them to learn more about what they do on a daily basis, because you have to understand, it is your sheriff department. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you've enjoyed those interviews, and as always, I want to invite you back for more of City Week.